right, Peter, I already gave you an incredible intro. You're amazing. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Take it away.
Well, thank you all for joining me tonight. First, I want to thank Sharon Walsh and Mike and Cal for having the courage to bring me on, because probably what I'm going to say tonight is going to shake a lot of you up. And I want to start off by saying, what if everything you thought you knew about diet, exercise, and nutrition was 100% wrong? Because it is. One of the things we're going to blow up, and somebody could put it in the chat, I'd like for anybody to put the technical definition, what is a calorie? Would you all agree that pretty much all the diets you've ever heard of are some form of counting calories? It's the most ridiculous thing that anybody's ever come. I'm sure Mike told you I've been a nutrition researcher for 23 years. I've done 20 shows on PBS, interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America, 1,500 live lectures around the world. For 22 of my 23 years, that meant 0 in the medical world. What I'm going to show you today is the real magic. You have an opportunity that is so staggering, you just don't understand it yet. You will when I'm done with you, okay? So everybody, just hang in there with me. I promise what I'm about to share with you will completely blow up everything you've ever thought you knew about diet, exercise, and nutrition, okay? So first of all, like I said, I really have written 4 best-selling books. I have them right here in my hand. Here's what I want to say starting out. The thing that changed everything for me was about 14 or 15 months ago when Dr. Paul Arciero's medical studies started to come out. In case you don't know, let me give you the background. A peer-reviewed human trial medical study sets us apart from anybody else. There's no one in direct selling, all this stuff you see on TV. It's all complete nonsense. They don't have one shred of medical evidence. You watch them, because I'm pretty big on social media. I see them coming on and they're making all these proclamations. They don't have one shred of medical evidence, and here's why. Because when you commit to do a peer-reviewed human trial study, you submit your research, for example, to these 10 peer-reviewed studies that Dr. Arciero did in the Obesity Journal, in Frontiers in Physiology, in Nutrients, in Frontiers, in Nature Communications. What you don't understand is the journal, when they take the data, they don't analyze it. They decide if it's worthy to be analyzed. They send it out to other world-class experts, medical doctors, and researchers who have one job. You know what their job is? To discredit what you're trying to prove. That's why you won't see these people doing that, because they'd be exposed. The claims that they're making are nonsense. By the way, I want to say, this is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or make any medical proclamations. I only stick to medical facts. So anything that I'm going to share with you is covered in medical proof. I don't give opinions. See, if you have to sell this or convince people, you don't even get it. It's like you don't even understand what you have. This is the most significant, this may be one of the greatest breakthroughs in the history of mankind. I'm not saying that lightly. John Anderson is my dear friend, was my first mentor and started me on my path down this way. And he told me years ago, people don't understand that the food in this country is becoming more and more nutritionally bankrupt. And that's why he traveled the world. I don't know if you all know this. He went to Tibet. He went to Bangladesh. He went to areas around the world in South America, New Zealand, to find foods that had huge amounts of nutrition, but small amounts of quantity. See, the biggest fallacy out there is they'll tell you things like, well, it's portion sizes. No, it's not, you idiots. It has nothing to do with I'm not talking about you in general. Please don't take offense. If I make people mad, if I don't make you mad tonight, then I really sucked at what I'm doing, okay? So let's just keep going. So when we talk about medical proof, what are we talking about? We're talking about peer-reviewed human trial studies. We're talking about things like, okay, why in the world is anybody counting a calorie? Your buddy has no idea what a calorie is. I'm just looking in the chat. Did anybody put the definition of calorie in there for me? I don't see it. So Mike, if you see it, just let me know. I will come back to that in a moment. Okay, so the first thing you need to understand is, let's look at the statistics. Because in medical research, or in research, which is what I've done for 23 years, unless you understand the magnitude of a problem, there's no way you ever come up with a solution, okay? So let's just go over some numbers, all right? This is from Johns Hopkins Medical School. You all can look it up, because I don't give you opinions. If you want opinions, there's plenty of other people around, not me. So listen to this. Johns Hopkins Medical study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese in 4.5 years. Does that sound to you like diets are working? Let's go a little bit deeper. The CDC last year came out and said, unequivocally, 92% of us are metabolically unhealthy, or what's called metabolic dysfunction. What does that mean? It means if you have 3 of these 5 factors, if you're overweight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, you're considered metabolically unhealthy. Well, in the medical studies, in case you didn't know it, All 5 of those factors came down dramatically just in 30 days. You have to understand what Arso did. You don't understand. I mean, first of all, did you know that he's like one of the top, if not the top rated weight loss nutrition physiologists in the entire world who conducted these studies for us, gave us the gift of a lifetime, completely changed things for me. I'll give you one quick story. I have a major oncologist friend of mine in San Francisco, runs a huge cancer center. I've known her for 16 or 17 years. Wouldn't even take a look at this. Aha. Until about 18 months ago, 16 months ago, I sent her the study. She called me the next day. And she's Chinese with a big accent. She goes, Peter, good. Husband fat, need to do this. Okay. So she went on the protocol. Her husband lost like 20 pounds in about 3 weeks. In a year's time, she's referred to me over 100 patients. Without those medical studies, forget it. No doctor was taking, even though I wrote 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the darn world. It didn't mean anything in the medical community because we didn't have peer-reviewed human trial studies. You all have these peer-reviewed studies. My God, you can go in your back office and get them and have them. You notice I'm holding them in my hand. If you're doing a presentation and you don't have the studies, shame on you. Because I'm going to tell you something else. This is how committed I am to this. I believe this in my heart of hearts. I wrote in my first book, shameless plug for me, called Why Diets Are Failing Us. At the end, I wrote, sometimes in history, something happens that's so extraordinary, it changes the world. I believe that moment is now. I believe in the 23 years that I've been involved in this company, I'm now at the end of the beginning. It's now the starting point. These studies from RCERO, if you're not leveraging them, why not? I don't get it. I really don't. This is the most powerful tool you have. You are the competition. We are the competition. We're coming basically to do one thing. Do you know that another line I wrote years ago, back in 15 years ago, I wrote, imagine in the future, legions of the sick marching on the hospitals when there won't be enough beds, there won't be enough doctors, there won't be enough nurses, there won't be enough drugs. Didn't we just go through that? Now, I'm not saying I'm a prophet. I wasn't. But you understand what I want to do is help all of you to create what? Legions of the well, to show people this amazing, unbelievable, there's nothing on the planet like this. That's what you have to know. Not keto or paleo or Mediterranean or time restricted eating or Cornish or all this ridiculous stuff like count your macros. It's all nonsense. You can tell I get really fired up about this. Let me share a story with all of you. You see, my own mother was morbidly obese. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy. And I loved her. She was awesome. Well, 24 years ago, she called me up one day and said, you know, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's really great. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. My mom did about every damn diet. I'm going to say damn diet out there. She did the grapefruit diet and the cabbage diet. She went to I see her go to Weight Watchers, spend a whole week, lose 4 ounces and come back with a gold star. This is crazy what's happening. So again, let's look at the problem for a moment and then we'll talk about the solution, because I need to explain to you why diets cannot possibly work. Nothing is my opinion. So let's just look at some studies. Has anybody ever heard of Harvard Medical School? Listen to this. Stop counting calories. Most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories, specifically 3,500, you lose a pound. But as it turned out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. They go on to say, the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not just antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard. Drop the calories notion. It's time to concentrate on what's in the food, not how much food we're consuming. Whoa, does that sound familiar? Do you have anything like that? Now let's keep going. Let's now go to a huge study, the science behind why diets don't work. If you don't have, why won't you have this stuff? You can get it online. I didn't make it up. None of it's my research. Listen to this. A review of more than 30 long-term studies on calories in, calories out show that dieting actually causes weight gain. The more diets someone has tried, the more they weigh. So not only does dieting not work for long-term weight loss, but it's associated with increased risk of binge eating, eating disorders, and long-term weight gain. What in the heck are we doing? Now, this last one is even more damning. Medicare. Anybody heard of Medicare? They're trying to bring healthcare costs down. Listen to this. Medicare's surge for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. the researchers reviewed studies of long-term calorie in, calorie out restrictive diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies show that 1/3 to 2/3 of people going on any diet gained more weight than they lost. They went on. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. And now we have people doing the shots, right? The shots. Woo, that's a wonder drug. Now, again, I'm not against the shots. They're helping diabetics, they're helping people that are morbidly obese. But you can all look this up. This is in the New England Journal of Medicine, a 68-week study, 68 weeks, right? And right in the study, they said, in 68 weeks, the weight loss was 32 pounds in 68 weeks, and 40% of the weight loss was lean muscle mass. Do you understand that? That's why these people gain. I'm going to explain it to you in a moment scientifically. There's no way no diet has ever been proven. Here's another one. Why you shouldn't count calories. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. Oh, in my case, probably, I don't even know if it's compliant. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I went from a 42 to a 34-inch pants. I'm in 34-inch pants today, and I don't ever want to see that 40 pounds again. You have the golden ticket. You have the secret. It's in your hands. But let's go even one step farther, and then we'll really talk about the solutions, okay? This is a great book. I didn't write it, called The Great New American Diet. Listen to this. You'll begin to understand why what you're doing works. The more nutrition, the more nutrition you give your body, the fewer calories it wants to eat. And the more efficiently it burns the calories you do eat. That's why Isagenix works. Do you get it? What John Anderson created was nutritional density. I'll give you a crazy example, but it'll make sense. So today, let's say you were going to fill up your car, assuming you got a gas car. There's only 2 pumps at the station. Pump number 1 says this gallon will take you 20 miles. The second pump says this gallon will take you 100 miles. That's what you have in your hands. Are you explaining that to people or not? We just said, well, I lost some weight, etc. Really? Really? No, you did. As a matter of fact, the last reason to do this is to lose weight. I'm going to read to you so that I'm compliant. I know I have it here somewhere. Did you understand? Now, I just told you that in the New England Journal of Medicine, 68 weeks, they lost 32 pounds. What did RCRO's study show? Listen to this. Let's try 16 pounds in a month. Let's try a reduction of 11% of fat. How about a 6 to 9% gain in lean muscle after a month and no loss of water weight? Let's talk about blood sugar down 6.2%, insulin down 41%, cholesterol 15%, LDL down 13%, triglycerides went down 24%, hunger came down 41%, and a desire to eat came down 40% in a month. But here was the big one, in case you didn't know. Inflammation. See, it's not a claim, it's in the studies. That's the big difference. You don't have to make up anything. And again, you don't have to be a crazy mad scientist like me. Just be able to leverage what you already have available to you. But are you telling people this? Are you sharing with them this major breakthrough? No diet has ever touched this. Next thing I'm going to tell you about, inflammation. Now, I'm going to real shameless plug for me. I did discover, this is a medical syndrome I discovered, little old Peter Greenalaw. It's a registered trademark U.S. patent office. What does it stand for? T for toxicity, D for nutrition deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. The original title of this book, you know what it was? TDOC, toxicity, deficiency, overweight, stress, and inflammation. When I was ready to come up with the book, the FDA came out and said, made inflammation a disease. I had to rewrite the whole damn book, but I was right. Inflammation, they're now saying, is the underlying cause of every precursor, every disease out there. Did you know that in the studies, inflammation came down by 25%? Do you understand there's so much more reason to be doing Isagenix than fitting in your skinny jeans? We have a chance to make such a difference on this planet. Use the darn tools that are there, that are provided. My gosh, it's just unbelievable what you can do if you want to. This isn't about, I'm going to probably get in trouble. For me, it's not about rah, rah, sit, boom, bah. It's about, oh my gosh, we have real science. We like have real science. We don't have scientific papers. You know, people come on, you see the ads on TV and they go, oh, this has a scientifically tested ingredient that's been shown to lower blood pressure. Well, when you look at their product and look at the amount of that ingredient, you'd need 1,000 of their capsules. It's it's so out of control, it's crazy, all right? Now, let's take a look at a couple more things, okay? Here, last thing I'm going to tell you about the problem, about calories. Here's the medical definition of why counting calories is completely over, finished, and done. The biggest failing of the calories in, calories out formula is it ignores that the body adjusts its control system when calorie intake is reduced. So while the formula, calories in, calories out, can support achieving weight loss initially, the reduction in energy intake ensures that the lost weight will be regained and more. All these people, what are they doing? They're all counting calories. Heck, they don't even know what a calorie is. And it doesn't work. Do you know that every diet out there, 25 to 40% of what people lose is lean muscle? Now let's talk about why diets don't work. Great. Shameless plug for me. This book came out 15 years ago. It's more pertinent today than it was when I wrote it. It's just crazy. Because we were saying to ourselves, why are people counting calories? A calorie, I didn't see anybody put it in the, I'm going to tell you all what a calorie is medically, what a calorie is. All a calorie is the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius. It's not a real thing. If you're counting calories, it's like you might as well be counting fairy dust. Count sheep, at least it'll help you sleep at night, right? No, this is nuts what we're doing, crazy. And listen, I'm big on social media. I get all kinds of pushback, especially from trainers and people like that. They want to tell me that I'm an idiot and it's BS. And of course, it's about calories in, calories out, and about thermodynamics. Nothing could be farther from the truth. It's just a joke. It's like, it's so crazy. But what can I say, you know? So the point is that we're now in a position where we really can educate people. See, if you leverage the medical proof, if you have to sell a person or convince a person, then it's probably the wrong person. Move on. But you have to understand what we have in our hands. The reason I'm telling you, if there's a greater opportunity than this on the planet, what in the heck would it be? Do you know we have 1 billion people, 1 billion out of 8 billion, clinically obese? Not just overweight. And they were on in the study done by the Lancet. You all can look it up. You can find this online, okay? They said making obesity the leading form of malnutrition in the world. What? Did you hear what I just said? Being overweight is the leading form of malnutrition in the world. Well, it makes sense because unless you have the right amount of vitamins, minerals, nutrients necessary to maximize your health. See, what I tell people all the time that makes them mad, I always ask for forgiveness in advance. I say, look, you have no idea how bad you feel right now because you don't understand how good you could feel if you go on this protocol. I'm so proud of this company. I'm so proud. I think Sharon has just done an unbelievable job, and RCO has come in with his incredible skill. I mean, I can't tell you. Here's what I can tell you. So I think that I'm pretty good at this, right? As a researcher. So I would say that my closing ratio before the medical studies was probably 20. If I talked to 10 people, 2 or 3 would sign up. You know what my closing percentage is now when I talk to someone about this? Almost 100%. I'm the same person. What changed? My message. So you might want to think about it. And I'm not here to convince you or sell you or twist your arm. You do whatever the heck you want after this tonight. Maybe you never want to see me again. Say, that crazy guy, get him out of here. Okay, that's fine. But science doesn't care about me. It doesn't care about my glasses or my tie or my jacket or whatever. It only cares about you have real science. Because see, science, it has no emotions. It has no agenda. It has no prejudice. It just is. That's why you have to understand when you have peer-reviewed, when people say to you, well, there's too much sugar. What? Who do you, this was reviewed by the top medical researchers in the world. Don't you think they would have brought that up? Do you see how all those if you could never lose a discussion with someone if you understand how to leverage this, right? So let's talk now about why diets don't work and what really you have available to you. I don't know if you know the story or not. You probably get mad if I tell this story. Do you know when Dr. Arcio first came to be doing studies, he wasn't working for Isagenix, he came to do analysis. You know what his main goal was? To prove it didn't work. And here's why. Because they'd spent at that point over 30 years, thousands of people on every diet out there. And every diet, what they found, people lost weight initially. Listen to the wording, initially. And then 2/3 of people ended up gaining more than they lost. And when they did, because they did extensive measurements, including muscle mass, and they found that 25 to 40% of what people were losing was lean muscle mass, which does what? Slows down our metabolism. And that's why you plateau on all these diets. And that's why you come off the diet and you gain everything back. But you know what else it's doing to you? It's slowing down your own immune system. By going on a diet and counting calories, you're actually making yourself unhealthy. Did any of you know that? Did any of you know? I'm not saying you are on diets. I hope you're not. I hope you're doing this protein pacing and intermittent fasting, which is the genesis behind all of this. But it shouldn't be up to you to try to convince people. You're not a nutritional researcher. I even say, look, it's not my research. I'm the researcher of the researchers. We're just so blessed to have someone like Arcero to put this in our lap, someone who was essentially a skeptic, 13 or 14 years ago when he first started. But you have to understand the medical proof. I asked him recently, I said, listen, would you ever recommend a traditional diet to anybody ever again? You know what he said? He said, to be honest with you, Peter, it would be unethical. He said, why would we put people on diets that we know after 8 or 10 weeks, they've lost up to 40% of the lean muscle mass? When on this, we're getting those kind of results in 3 or 4 weeks. They measured lean muscle. It increased 6 to 9%. People lost no water weight. Do you think you could tell people that or not? How hard is that? I want this thing to explode. We need to help the world. The world's in terrible trouble. So let's talk about why diets don't work. It has nothing to do with calorie counting. Here's how your body works from a physiological standpoint. You have a minimum amount of nutrition that the brain calculates that runs all the organs, starting with the brain. So we got enough fuel, the brain, the kidney, the liver, the heart, all these organs running great. Did you ever think about this? When people put you on a diet, what are you really doing? You're reducing the amount of food you're consuming. Well, what else are you reducing, everybody? Nutrition. When your brain goes, wait a minute, whoa, not enough nutrition, it freaks out, goes in starvation mode and thinks you're starving it to death because you are from a nutritional standpoint. Guess what it does? It completely shuts down accessing the fuel stored in your fat cells. It does. That's what it does. But now it needs fuel. Where does it find it? In your muscles. Don't let anybody ever tell you burn fat. That's the biggest nonsense. Well, in the gym, you're going to burn fat. No, you're not. A diet, you're not going to burn fat. You're born with the same number of fat cells. You die with the same number of fat cells. Now, they can expand or they can contract. Well, in the study, in 8 weeks, people's visceral fat, that fat around your midsection, it shrank by 33%. No one was allowed to exercise. Did all you know that in his studies? No one was allowed to exercise. They actually were Fitbits to prove they didn't exercise. Not because it's against exercise, of course not. Because they didn't want that to be an outlier. Otherwise, we could have all said, well, of course they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. Do you know, I'll tell you something, this is crazy. As your waist expands, beyond a certain point, like for men, it's above like 40 inches. Do you know as the waist gets bigger over like 40 inches, it shrinks your brain? Did you know that? Is that unbelievable? I mean, there's so much science now that we can support without making any claims. So let's come back to the diets for a moment. So as you reduce the quantity of the food you're consuming and you reduce the nutrition, you fire off the brain in starvation mode. Okay, so now it goes on that tangent. Okay, so what happens on a diet? You lower the amount of food, you lower the amount of nutrition. What did John Anderson do for all of us? What did he tell me years ago? He said, Peter, the only thing that matters to the human body is to have enough nutrition to run all the organs. That's what he created, everyone. I'll give you a new term you can use. What he created was nutritional density. What he created was the 100-mile-a-gallon gas. What he created is something, it's changing the world. It's already changing lives. I mean, we have people, seriously. I mean, imagine in that big study, I got another big study here. This one will really shock all of you. I hope it does. This one in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Again, you can all look it up. It's called Comparison of Weight Loss Among Named Diet Programs in Overweight and Obese Adults. It was a 12-month study, 12 months. And what they looked at, 48 unique randomized trial, including 7,286 people. And essentially what they did, they looked at all the diets. They named them: keto, paleo, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, fasting, Jenny Craig Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, the Zone Diet, lose weight for your blood type. Listen to this, everyone. Over 12 months, the most amount of weight loss on any diet to the least amount of weight loss on any diet in a year was 10 ounces. Do you see how silly this is? That's crazy. But also, in a year's time, they lost about 16 pounds, and 25 to 40% of what they lost was lean muscle. Really? And they're saying that this is basically good. The bar is so low. But here's what we're facing. It's getting worse. Do you know right now about 50% of our kids are overweight, and a third of those are type 2 diabetics, which 35 years ago, type 2 diabetes in children didn't exist. What are we doing? What are all you doing? See, I believe it's our obligation. I do. I believe it's our obligation to share it with people, not sell them, not convince them. That's way too, I don't have enough time to do that. It's going to tire me out. I need to do research. I'm changing the world. I'm busy. You could do the same thing. You could be the researcher of the researchers. You don't have to. I mean, one thing I learned over the 23 years, I could read the same books that Einstein. I'm not saying I understood them all. I didn't know anything about genetics or DNA or any of this stuff until I started to get into it. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to know, the more exciting it was. So what you're doing is this, in case you didn't know it. So let's call it, whether you want to call it a shake day, whatever. On a shake day, essentially what you're doing, you're giving people huge amounts of nutrition in less amount of food. Forget calorie counting. Okay, please, just at least for right now, suspend calorie counting. Okay, that's just nonsense. But the deal is, it isn't about the quantity of the food you're consuming. It's about the nutritional density. Does everybody get that? I mean, I know you can't respond. Am I making sense? Does everybody get this? I hope this is valuable to everybody. I'm not looking at the comments. I don't think I am, because I'm concentrating so hard, because we started late and I know I have a limited amount of time, so I'm going as fast as I can go. And you're getting really a mini version of one of my over 1,500 lectures that I've done around the world. So what are you really doing on a shake day? Okay. There's a new term I want to explain to you, and why on what you call a cleanse day, it's so effective. So let's back up before we talk about those two things. I'm going to come back to it in a moment, I promise. How many of you knew that last night, as long as you didn't eat too late, when you went to sleep, your body, here's how it works. You went to sleep, your body slows down your digestion. When you slow down digestion, the body automatically begins getting the bad stuff out. It's called autophagy. It's in essence getting rid of the dead cells that happens every single night, okay? So did you ever think about the fact that when you're doing, like on a cleanse day, and I know you're doing aloe vera and you're doing whatever you're doing on that day, right? Okay, if you just counted the number of calories, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to be starving to death. No, you're not going to be starving to death, because one of the things you don't understand is the very shake day you had before you created, RCO taught me this, by the way, why this works so well, something called nutritional partitioning. What the heck does that mean? It means that those shakes the day before have so much nutrition, you can't use it all. So what does the body do? It stores it. It's called nutritional partitioning. Now watch this on what you guys call a cleanse day. On that cleanse day, you're not just relying on the aloe vera and the snacks and the hydrate and the Ionic Supreme. Your body literally goes over to that warehouse and brings over that excess nutrition. But listen to this, everybody. It's already been digested. Almost no involvement in your digestive tract. Why is that important? Why? Because you're triggering essentially that same reaction that's happening at night. That's why it works. John Anderson was a genius when he figured this out. It was all about nutritional density. It wasn't about quantities. Well, it's certainly about quality. That made a huge difference. See, what I believe, and I've kind of coined the term, that what you're really doing for someone across the board when they're going through this, you're really giving them the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. Let me go over some things for you. So if we're making dinner, okay, or we're cooking something, we need ingredients, right? So if we're going to make the world's most perfect meal from a nutritional standpoint of view, what would you want in there? Well, how about trace ionic minerals? I think we have those. How about natural vitamins, of which there are like 22, okay? And how about the hydrate, the electrolyte? Because you definitely, when you're doing on cleanse days, you need that to keep your electrolytes going. And then how about the Ionic Supreme with the adaptogens and with the Shilajit that does what? Lowers stress and we have the proof. It lowers inflammation. It's not making a claim. Again, if you have the study in your hand, you have the proof. So you don't have to worry you're making a claim which you're not making, right? So the idea is that, and also, did you know, like in the shakes, you have what's called prebiotic fiber. Why do I care about that? Oh, here's why you care about it. Because, yeah, wait a minute. You have a huge study in Nature Communications, the number one medical journal in the world, titled Gut Microbiome Remodeling, Metabolic Profile Improves in Response to Protein Pacing and Intermittent Fasting. Why? Because you're giving the world the most perfect meal. See, here's why prebiotic fiber is so important. It makes good flora. It makes more bacteria in your body. Anytime we can make something instead of taking something, we're light years ahead. You see, this, I think, is a huge challenge for everybody. how do you really explain something that's almost unexplainable? Well, I had the benefit of, working at the side of John Anderson years ago and many of the other brilliant, brilliant doctors and researchers that I've worked with over 20. I'm not telling you, it's not about bragging. They have the saying, they ain't bragging if you can back it up. Well, I can back all this up with these medical trials over and over and over again. I mean, when the New England Journal of Medicine does a 68-week study, and I'm reading from the study 32 pounds in a year, and yet in our Sierra study, they lost 16 pounds in a month, which one would you choose? And basically what you're doing, you're flooding your body. A better term that you could use would be nutritionally dense feedings. That's really what you're doing, in case you didn't know. But in essence, you really created what you're consuming is really the world's most perfect meals. Look, if you looked at the amount of food you're actually consuming from the grocery store, hopefully it's organic. But let's talk about organic for a minute, okay? I wrote about it in this book, and I'm not trying to sell books. Don't think that. I don't care about that. But deficiency is an enormous, enormous problem. There was a study done, we wrote about it in the book, on spinach, Popeye's food, everybody's, right? Cornell University, 1953 to 2000, estimates that the iron levels in spinach have decreased. You ready for this, everybody? By 4,300%. So when people come on and they tell you, yeah, I'm eating whole foods and I'm eating healthy. No, you're not. No, you're not. And if you look at the serving sizes of the foods see, it has nothing to do with that. I mean, it does in a sense that the servings that you're giving to people are completely disproportionate to the amount of nutrition that you're physically getting. There's only one reason to do this, and that's to give your body what you can't get from normal food. I don't care how much you would eat. It just doesn't work. And if you think about it, what John Anderson done, he'd gone to the far reaches of the world to bring back these nutrients, some of which, are mind-boggling when you think about it. And that was what, 25 years ago or whatever, when he first, well, he started long before that, long before I knew him. I mean, I didn't meet him until about 23 years ago, but he had been formulating. When I met him, he'd already made like 2,500 different formulas for over 650 companies. And I don't know if you all know the story, and I'm not going to go into it tonight, but the reason you have what you have today is because he had his own health crisis that he solved through what? Nutrition. So if we were to recap sort of everything, okay? The reason that your opportunity, we don't have to do anything. It keeps getting, it's not a pun, it's getting bigger and bigger every day. Does anybody want to comment? I mean, if we have 1 billion people worldwide clinically obese, it's not just the United States problem anymore. And metabolic syndrome, where you got 92% of our population with metabolic syndrome, and I'm not making a claim. In the studies, blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, and weight all came down in 30 days. It's not up for debate. It's not like, well, you're stretching the truth. No, I only deal in the truth. And you all have that opportunity. That's why these studies are so important to all of us, to this company, to the future, but more importantly, to mankind. Why wouldn't you share this with other people? Don't try to sell them. Don't try to convince them. Share. You have something that nobody else has, and we have the medical proof to back it up. That's what makes it so unbelievable. Unbelievable, really, unbelievable. I can speak from experience. I did over 1,500 lectures. I would have people come up to me all the time after I was done, before COVID, of course. And they say, Peter, I'm really pretty healthy. I'm only on one high blood pressure medication. I'd go, oh my God. See, because that's the problem. If you think you're on a medication, you're controlling your blood pressure, blood sugar. Thank God we have these drugs, okay? I'm not against them. But you still have the condition. And when you look at insulin, came down in a month, 41%. That's never, forget it. But it's in the medical studies. You're not making a claim when you're reading from the study. That's, that really is it. So it really comes down to this. How committed are you really? Are you willing to do a little bit of, you don't have to become a nerd like me. And I'm proud of being a nerd, right? I love being a nerd, because my research, it's not even my research, it's the research that I found. It's really making a difference in people's lives, in my family, and the people that we've been able to touch. I figure I've spoken in front of over 500,000 people in those, well, let's see, 20 years before COVID, I was speaking, at least 4 nights a week. And I've been, all over the United States and Canada and, et cetera. But that's not what's important. It's not about me. It's about you deciding, do you really believe in the vision of John Anderson? We're so lucky we have Dr. Arciero. He is one of the most brilliant, proven real scientists in the world. And he's producing these studies for all of you. And he comes on your calls and talks about it. I mean, what universe are you living in? That's why this is so astounding. You have something that is the antithesis of every diet out there. I hope I proved to you, diets are nonsense. They're crazy. They don't work. If we're talking about in 4.5 years, 86% of Americans being overweight or obese, do you think we have an opportunity, or is it just me? Is it just, if we got, 5%, 1% of that, and we couldn't, probably couldn't get enough whey protein to even satisfy that. But the people you come in contact with, don't you feel an obligation to share what's already happened to you and the motivation to do this? See, I always tell people all the time, don't even do it to lose weight. That's like a throw. You know the only reason to do this, everybody? Maintenance. There's no other reason to do it. It's not a question, can you get the weight off? Most of you experienced that. But can you keep it off? Yes. It's so simple. You know, simple maintenance is for me, a shake and Ionix, 1 serving in the morning. That's it. And then I do probably a 48-hour, what you call a cleanse, probably once every couple months, maybe sooner, because it makes me feel so good. Because here's my point. I believe, and I've confirmed it with other people, that a shake and Ionix really is the world's most perfect meal. I mean, you think about what's in there. It's crazy. Look at your label. Look at how many nutrients there are in there. Why aren't you promoting that? Why aren't you promoting maintenance? That's the whole key to this whole thing. A long time ago, I figured out the whole key to this thing was long-term consumption. Now, I didn't know very much way back then. As a matter of fact, when I first started, my first check was $7.50. I didn't do this for money. I thought it was the damnedest thing ever. I remember I was getting like $50 a week, and I'm going like, where's that coming from? Because I didn't know anything back then. I didn't even know what a calorie was. And obviously no one, I told you, I gave you all the answer, what a calorie is and what a calorie isn't. So hopefully after tonight, no matter what, you're never going to talk about calories again in the same way. Hopefully you're learning something. That should be the goal for all of you. So in summary, before Mike and Cal kick me off because of the technical problems, so let's review. Do you all understand now why diets are failing us? Do you feel like can you just nod your heads? Do you feel like I explained that to you? You understand that counting calories is the most ridiculous thing on the planet and the reverse of that. So a diet is what, everybody? It's reducing the quantity of your food. And by definition, why do you eat food in the first place? I mean, it tastes good. No, the only reason you eat food is for nutrition. That's it. I think I talked about this, maybe I did, or maybe I didn't. Do you know when you eat processed food, it causes an immune system reaction in your body? Do you know that you're stimulating your immune system when you're eating processed food? Because the body has no idea what it is. So the point is that we now have the solution and we know why. So it's not just a matter of, well, diets don't work. See, that's not enough. I think if you give them the analogies that I've given you tonight, that opens the door. Okay, well, what do you suggest? It's not what you suggest. You didn't invent it. You didn't. I didn't. I never say that. I tell people I'm the researcher of the researchers. That's really true. But I would hope you'd walk away from this tonight going like you're ready to run through a wall to help people. Yeah, and you're going to benefit from it, but you should be. You're conveying knowledge. Where are they going to learn this? On TV? On an ad? No. And the other part that's so great, you've experienced, which gives you irrefutable evidence with your own body, with your own conviction. I love that song, Conviction of the Heart, I think it's by Kenny Loggins, but it's kind of the same thing here. You should have unshakable belief based on what happened to you. It's not some little thing what's happened to you, or most of you, or a lot of you. Maybe there's even people on here that haven't even, done it. So I just want to leave you with this. If you don't feel after this tonight that this is the greatest opportunity in the world, I don't know what would be. I really, really don't. So you now know that calorie counting is dead, and we have a solution. we're able to give people less food, but we increase nutrition. That's really what makes it work. That's it. That's the key to this whole thing. So imagine, it's not, again, do you want to put 20 mile a gallon gas in your body, or do you want to go to pump number 2, where I'm going, and get 100 miles to the gallon? Okay? So I know I really went fast, and I know we ran out of time. So Mike or Cal, was there anything else you want me to cover, or is that? And I know there's lots of comments. I didn't look at any comments because I'm so damn concentrated on what I'm doing, because you guys, technical difficulties always suck. But what would you say, Mike or Cal?
Peter Greenlaw, you were freaking brilliant. That's what I would say. And I know, like you said, we got started a little bit late, you guys. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties, but you guys put in the chat how much you enjoyed listening to Peter. And then in addition to that, put in the chat if you'd like Peter to do another call in the near future where we have even maybe a little more time with him. All right, put it in the chat, you guys. Peter, check it out. That should answer your question. People loved it. They're eating it up. They're commenting like crazy. Okay, you guys, don't leave yet. I'm going to share my screen. I have a couple of quick things here at the end. Again, though, Peter, thank you so much. Was absolutely brilliant. And I'm looking forward to what we can do in the future with you, because your excitement is just contagious. So, all right, let me go ahead and share my screen here. And then one last thing, you guys, I will share about Peter and just what I love about this stuff. Like Peter said, you don't have to become a nerd like him. You guys, first of all, I wish I was a nerd like you, Peter, because you're just brilliant. You have all this knowledge. But I do love that you share that, because me personally, I'm not a science guy. I was always terrible in science. I was terrible in math. My brain just shut that stuff out. But when Peter speaks, it doesn't even matter, you guys. It's the enthusiasm, it's the excitement, and you can take that same evidence, these studies that Peter's referring to, and do the exact same thing. You don't have to be a nerd. That's why it's just brilliant listening to him. Like I said, Peter, we're going to try to get you on some more calls here in the near future, but so grateful and just such good content. All right, you guys. So a couple quick final announcements. So don't ditch out yet. You're going to want to hear this final slide after this one. So we are going to continue this series of calls. We have another Wellness Edge call this Thursday. So 2 days from today, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Dr. Paul and Lockie, they're going to be talking about body composition. And then they're going to get on again the following Thursday and the Thursday after that. So again, make sure you are putting this stuff on your calendar. And one thing that me and the other sales guys, we were texting during Peter's piece, we're just like, man, if everybody invited just one person to these calls, you'd be amazed at what this could do for your prospects. You know what I mean? Just not just because of the content, which is incredible, but just the enthusiasm from Peter, from Dr. Paul, from Lockie. It's just so good, you guys. So I really encourage you. That's your call to action today. Invite at least one person to the call on Thursday. Get them there. Talk about body composition. That is a pretty all-encompassing topic that anybody can really learn from and benefit from. So this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, get the rest on your calendar. And last but not least, as promised, we're going to do probably 20 giveaways. Okay, we're going to send you a little gift bag of free product if, well, not everybody. We're going to choose about 20 people. But in order to be considered for a giveaway, you guys, you have to get out your phone right now, open the camera app, and hover over this QR code. A little link is going to pop up. And then once that does that, click on the link and go fill out the survey. It'll only take a few minutes. And again, if you do that, you'll be entered for a chance to win some free product. And we're going to have quite a few winners. So do it, you guys. Take advantage. I'll leave this screen up for maybe 30 more seconds, just to make sure that you're able to capture that. And but that's all I have for you. So once you do that, you guys, you can log off. We look forward to seeing you again Thursday. And Peter, as always, thanks again. We appreciate you.
You betcha. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon. I'll leave this screen up for 30 seconds.
Thanks, Peter. It's wonderful.
You are fabulous, Peter.
I'm going to hang around to the end. Those accolades are few and far between.
Peter, we appreciate you. You're a rock star, buddy.
Oh, thank you, Sheila and Michael. That's really nice of you to say that.
Awesome. We love you.
Thank you so much. We loved it.
Good.
Thanks,
good.
Peter
Well,
Greenlaw. Miss you.
All right. All right. I just hope you all can
Wonderful.
use it to help me change the world. That's my dream. That's my goal. So
Absolutely.
Love hearing you.
Amazing.
The negative